The Gospel of Mark ends by plunging us into the experience of loss, dumping us into the void, simply leaving us in the gap, caught in between the known of what used to be and the complete uncertainty of what is before us. In some circles, this gap, this void, this empty nothingness is called liminal space. Liminal space is like a threshold, an in-between space where what has been is being dislocated, passing away, losing the ability to work for us any longer. Uncertainty at the threshold reigns supreme. Past ways of being, old ways of doing things are slipping away, even as the future looms large, unclear, and confusing. This liminal space, the threshold betwixt and between, an empty space of nothingness, of not knowing what will be, is essential preparation. Preparation to move us from what was into what is yet to be. Living into the void, remaining in the betwixt and between for a while, learning to let go of what has been, allows us to arrive at a new place, a place of transformation, the dawning of a new day where hope and joy will meet us once more. Remaining in this liminal space is not jumping carelessly into an unknown future. It is remaining in the void, developing tolerance and courage to live with uncertainty, knowing the old is passing away and something new is on the way, even though we don't know what that something is. Living into the void, waiting at the threshold, is about letting go of the comfortable and familiar. It's about finding courage to embrace what is uncomfortable and unfamiliar. It's about hanging, simply hanging in empty space, embracing uncertainty, waiting for life that is yet to be, to arrive to meet you where you are in the empty space. Living into the void, waiting in this sacred space for life and hope to show up, is not just living through an uncomfortable, scary time. It's actually living through absolutely terrifying times, terrifying for individuals, terrifying for communities, every bit as terrifying as it was for the women fleeing from the empty tomb. And our society develops in many, perhaps most, maybe all of us, intolerance for terror, intolerance for remaining in pain, impatience for waiting, inability to live with ambiguity and anxiety, so we tend to mask our fear and act quickly, not always wisely or thoughtfully or effectively, but quickly. The thing is, dealing with major loss and change is not a quick process. It takes time. Learning to grieve well takes courage. Living into the void so we can truly live into the freedom and the hope that again one day will come requires the ability to live with anxiety and ambiguity for as long as it takes. Because change and loss in small ways and in big ways are our constant companions from the beginning of our days to our last breath and perhaps beyond. Learning to live well is learning to grieve well, learning to live into the void, staying there for a while. People we love move out of our lives. Members of the Ford Street community leave and move on to other places. People important to us move on geographically and emotionally. Family members die, leaving gaps in the family and holes in our hearts. We're tempted to move too quickly, minimizing the pain, ignoring the confusion, acting out our unrecognized pain in inappropriate ways, filling the void with busyness, trying to live life the way it was before. Pastors join congregations for a while, a longer while or a shorter while, then move on to other calls, retire, and leave the community, sometimes die suddenly and unexpectedly, leaving the community reeling. Congregations try to move quickly through the pain, relieving their anxiety, or dropping out with hopes of avoiding the pain, retreating back to the way things used to be, or jumping too quickly into what they think ought to be, and missing sacred opportunities for what can be. Opportunities revealed to us when we are truly ready for the divine to show up and take us forward. In all the losses of our lives, especially the biggest losses of our lives, it takes courage to wait in the pain, to live into the void intentionally and with conviction. It takes determination, especially in a fast-paced, quick-fix society like ours, to stay in the liminal space for as long as we need to. It takes endurance to make it through the terribly long night until life comes to meet us once more. Living into the void, remaining in the in-between space, waiting through the long night until the possibilities of God come to meet us is a courageous act of faith, an essential act of faith, making it possible for our lives to go forward into a future with hope in it. May God abide with you in these liminal spaces, in the void, the times of emptiness in your life. Amen.